Hello, my fellow techies. Welcome back to the Learning Network 2020. So, today we will be learning about virtual LANs, or otherwise called VLANs. So, we know that a VLAN can operate at layer 2 or 3 of the 7-layer OSI model. Say that fast 3 times. So what I am going to show you is how to set up your switch first to operate using the VLAN ports, which will be right. Let me put these glasses on. You know, when you're a senior, you got to wear the glasses. You have to wear the glasses. Let me speak the proper English. So yes, as you can see here, we will be setting up a port-based VLAN on our switch. Of course, I'll have to log back in. Give me 1 minute here. Let me log back in. This thing times out sometimes if you don't have any activity. Make sure I put the right password, which makes sense. It's a good security measure. All right, here we go. Back again. So now, like I was saying earlier before it timed out on me, we are going to set up today, or go over setting up a VLAN right here, and it will be port based for now. Now, the question is, why would you want to initially set up a VLAN, or a virtual local area network? Well, the answer is right here in this little uh, option. Traffic segmentation. If you have a very large network and users are clashing their data all over the place on the network in one major switch, you will have a lot of dropped packets because there is just too much traffic on that lane on the switch. So we could take some of that traffic and we could switch it to a different port and open up multiple lanes so the packets can flow in and out very smoothly, and therefore increasing the speed that the data will travel on the network. So that's a long way of saying giving the network more traffic lanes. So that's why we will be setting up the VLAN itself. Now, as you can see right here, gotta put the glasses back on. There is also another option to open up a voice VLAN. Now, in the earlier days of networking, we had all the traffic going through one main switch. That would be the voice traffic and the data traffic, and it was just a mess back then. I'm so happy that the vendors came out with some nice fancy strategies and new equipment. So you could also, but just to show you, you could also set up a voice virtual LAN as well. And voice, we mean data coming from your telephone equipment and so on. All right, but we're not gonna set this up right now. I just want to show you that this D-Link switch, 5-port switch, has the option to set up a voice VLAN as well. But we're gonna go right here to the port-based VLAN. So now I have my uh, machines plugged into the first 2 ports of the switch. But before I even go that route, let me just enable the port-based VLAN. As you can see here, there will be a maximum of 32 entries, which means I can set up 32 VLANs on my switch. So before we begin to set up our virtual LANs, VLANs, the first, you need to, number one, make sure you have connectivity between your devices. So in this particular instance, I am using 2 computers, 2 laptop computers, but I also want to make sure that each laptop can, number one, communicate with the switch, And number two, they can communicate with each other. So how do I perform this task? Well, the first thing I need to do is bring up my command prompt right here, and I'm going to type ping. I'm going to ping first off the switch. So the address is 1090.90.90. And let's see if I receive any kind of communication. Yes, I do have a reply from the router address, which is telling me right here that they received 4 packets, nothing was lost, and it took about 2 milliseconds to receive that information. Average time is 3 milliseconds. So that's the actual switch address. Now let me ping the other laptop, which is address 91. Right? And I just used the up arrow instead of typing all that information again. So I'll change that 90 to 91. And voila, I can in fact ping the other machine, which this is the address. Now let me show you the address on my machine that I'm working on right now. So the address for this machine is 92. So if I were to do ipconfig, let me put this up a little bit. There you go. ipconfig/all. That will give me more information about my local machine. All right, so this is my NIC card description. This is the address of this machine, MAC address. I'm not using DHCP right now, and we're using IP4 right now just for training purposes. And this is all the information for my local machine. All right. So as you can see earlier, I am communicating with 91, and I am communicating with 90, the switch itself, and 91. That's all I need. And 92, of course, I don't have to worry about because that's the local machine. So now, here's what I am going to show you a little quick scenario. Suppose you were to use that ping command and you did not receive a response back. In other words, the two machines were not communicating with each other. What type of message would appear? Don't worry, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go over to my other machine and I'm going to turn the firewall back on. And I'm using a Windows 11 desktop actually. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And now we should receive a message that will say time out, which means that the two machines are not communicating with each other. So let me go ahead and ping that 91 address again. If I spell it correctly, if I spell the command correctly, 1091. Once more, let's see what kind of message we receive. It's taking a bit longer, which is a good sign. And here it is. So if you are ever troubleshooting or setting up a environment on your network and you receive this request timed out, that means that the communication between those devices did not work properly. Okay, so it's enabled. I'm gonna click up apply. Oh, I did that already. Sorry. Did it? See you in a moment. All right. So now you see right here, it's called VLAN 1, and of course we can rename it whatever we want to. And these are all the ports that we have available to create that VLAN. So let me rename it. What do I want to call my VLAN? Well, since I'm kind of vain a little bit here and there, I'll just call it KMT. Put little caps. KMT VLAN 1. Or oh yeah, that's fine for now because we're just training and we're just exploring right now. So now these are all the ports, and so I'll go ahead and apply that information. There it is. It's changed automatically right on the spot, real time. And if I wanted to delete it, I could. So now that's the first VLAN. Now I want to add another one. Okay, so now this is also where you assign whatever port should have access, or should be a VLAN. Let me put it that way. So now I'll create another VLAN, and this time I'll call this one multimedia. So that will be the multimedia VLAN, if I can spell it correctly. Multimedia. Glasses again. Yeah, I know you're laughing at me, but the glasses, that's okay. Multimedia. Okay, looks like I spelled it correctly. So I'll go ahead and click apply to that. Oh, you have to include. Okay, so now it's asking me to include one member in the new VLAN. So this is almost like a default VLAN here. But I don't want to include the ports just yet. Perfect. 2 and click apply. Okay, thank you. Whew. So now, as you can see, port or VLAN 1 has all of the ports set up as a VLAN. Now, I don't want that. I only want probably, we'll see. I have to modify that a little bit. So now VLAN 2, we only have port 2 set up as a VLAN. So I need to modify VLAN 1 because I don't want all of these ports set up as VLANs at all. Matter of fact, let's just make it, I'm thinking, I think I only need, uh, hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna make port 1 a VLAN. And now this one, port 2 a VLAN. So what does this mean? This means that every machine that is connected to VLAN 1 will be able to communicate with each other. Every machine or device that's connected to VLAN 2, they will be able to communicate with each other. So for example, if I take my server and I plug it into the VLAN 1 port, then, no, not actually, wait a second. I'm going to have to add 2 more ports to each of these VLANs. You know why? Because in order for us to do the test properly, we're going to need more than 1 port. So more than 1 member of the VLAN. So let's make port 3 part of KMT VLAN 1. There you go, apply that. I just remembered as I'm going over this exercise. And then VLAN 2, we're going to make port 4 on the switch part of that VLAN. Now we're talking. Ooh, memory is coming back. It's been a while since I had a chance to practice some of my networking skills. It's been a long while. Okay, so here we go. Now, so what I will do is take some devices and I'll plug those devices into each of these VLANs, and I will use that same ping command, and I'll try to ping the IP addresses on this VLAN, and we should not receive any communication because I have just segmented the network traffic not to be able to reach this VLAN unless I give it permission by adding it into the VLAN, which I'm not going to do right now. And so remember, you can have up to 32 entries of these VLANs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to do our little VLAN test. So I changed my mind again. We are going to do 2 things here with this exercise. As you notice, there is VLAN 1, which is called KMT VLAN 1. I have 2 members of that VLAN, port 1 and port 2. So just think of this as 2 computers on that VLAN, KMT VLAN 1. So by theory, these 2 machines should be able to talk with each other. So I should be able to ping each machine separately and there'll be a response because they're on the same VLAN. So that is the concept. So let's go ahead and bring up a little dance prompt right here. And let me ping each address. So before I do that, let's do IP config and see what. So the address of this machine is 92. So I'm going to ping 91, which is my other laptop, which is not shown in the picture, but you get the idea. So I'll ping 10, 90, 90, 91. We should have a response that says reply, and we do. Let me move my little pick and pick picture out of the way. All right. So you see there is a reply. We are communicating with this laptop. Time to live 128, 53 milliseconds, 2 milliseconds. So you see the first response was a little long, but nevertheless, it is in fact communicating. They are in fact communicating with each other. So now we will do the next test. I'm going to close out my little, well, I'll minimize it. I won't close it. Now, I want to take port 2 out of VLAN 1 and put it into VLAN 2. So how do we do that? Easy. Click on the little thing, uncheck the mark, click apply. Don't forget to click apply. Now it's gone. Voila, goodbye. Next, we go to VLAN 2 and we're going to add port 2 in there. And we're going to click apply. Boom, boom, boom. Now we have VLAN 1 with just one port, port 1. VLAN 2 has 2 ports, which is port number 2 and number 4 right here. Okay, so these two VLANs should not be able to speak to each other because they are segmented. That is the whole gist of our exercise. We are segmenting traffic off of the network by creating a brand new lane. So like when you're driving down the highway, stay out of my lane. I should not be able to communicate with you. I can see you on the highway, but I am not able to communicate with you because you're in your lane. As a New Yorker, ex-New Yorker, we always used to say, "Stay in your lane, buddy. Stay in your lane." So, so think of it that way. So now, let's go back to our little DOS prompt. Clear that up. Let's try to ping 91 again. Now that we've switched the VLANs, and see what we get. See if it works. 10, 90, 90, and 91. Let's see what kind of. Nada. He is staying in his lane. He's timing out, which means that the exercise worked. Thank goodness. So, because we moved him away from VLAN, KMT VLAN 1, we put them on multimedia, so they're not going to be able to communicate at all because we have just segmented the network. So this is what I mean by creating a VLAN on your switch. And as you can see, it even tells you destination host unreachable. I can see you, but I really can't see you, or I can't communicate with you even though I see you. So that is what I'm trying to explain. So that's how much or how uh, important it is to understand how the structure of a VLAN will work. Now, I know in my previous video I told you I was going to look for some more computers and put some more computers on different ports on the VLAN. But then I did a little thinking. I said, I could probably just do it with 2 machines. And there you have it. That's exactly what I did. So that is it for our VLAN video. I hope you liked it. Hope you had some fun. Hope you understood the theory, what I was trying to explain to you. And if you didn't, ask me a question, and I'll surely clarify the information to you. All right, so we are going to continue on with some more fun stuff in reference to VLANs, but now for the next lesson, we will actually create a VLAN off of my wireless router. That's right, which will be a network 3 VLAN. Remember, this is a switch, so this is a network, not a network, a layer to VLAN. And you may be asking, what's the difference? That's another lesson too. I love giving those lessons. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed what you have noticed so far, and stay tuned for the next video. We'll be talking again very soon. KMT Tech Lady signing off.